Okay, let's talk about a diet that really, and I mean really shook things up in the world of food and weight loss. I'm talking about the Atkins Revolution. We're going to get into its really controversial core idea and break down the four-phase journey it's famous for.
Does that sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so. It's the advice most of us grew up hearing, right? That fat is the ultimate bad guy on your plate, and that a nice juicy steak is a one-way ticket to ruining your diet. It's basically been treated as nutritional fact for decades.
But here's a thought. What if that's not the whole story? What if the very foods we've been taught to fear are actually the key to getting our bodies to lose weight? Now that is the big, provocative question that the Atkins diet is built on.
And that question really gets to the heart of the Atkins philosophy. See, it's not just another list of eat this, not that. It's about completely rewiring our relationship with the things we eat, and especially with fat. So yeah, welcome to Atkins. This isn't just a diet plan, it's a way of thinking that took decades of nutritional advice, like that old food pyramid, and just turned it completely on its head.
So how does this all work inside your body? Well, the best way to think about it is like a total engine swap. You're not just putting a different kind of gas in the tank, you're fundamentally changing the entire system that your body runs on. You see, your body basically has two fuel tanks. The first one is its go-to, its default setting, sugars and carbs, from stuff like bread, pasta, all that. The second one is its backup generator, fat. The whole idea behind Atkins is to, as they say, turn off that tap of carbs, which forces your body to flick a switch and start using its backup fuel, burning its own fat for energy.
And this amazing biological switch has a name. It's called ketosis. That's the state your body enters when it runs out of its usual carb fuel and has no other choice but to start breaking down its own fat stores to keep everything running.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Hold on, isn't that just keto? And that's a really good question. Think of Atkins as keto's more flexible, maybe even smarter cousin. While keto is all about staying in that strict state of ketosis all the time, Atkins uses a phased approach. It kicks things off hard to get you into that fat-burning mode, but then it strategically and carefully brings certain carbs back into your diet.
And that brings us to the actual structure of the whole thing. Atkins isn't some chaotic free-for-all where you just eat bacon all day. No, it's a very deliberate four-phase journey. It's designed to first shock your metabolism into action, and then teach you how to keep those results for the rest of your life.
So here it is, the entire roadmap. It's less like a restrictive diet and more like a training program for your body. You start with this intense boot camp called induction. Then you move into a re-education period called balancing. After that comes the fine-tuning of pre-maintenance, and then you finally graduate to a sustainable lifestyle you can stick with.
All right, let's zoom in a little closer on these steps. The whole journey really begins with phase 1, which is without a doubt the most critical and the most intense part of the plan.
And it all boils down to this one number, 20 grams. That is the absolute maximum amount of net carbs you can have in a day during that first phase. And just so you know, net carbs are just your total carbs minus the fiber. It's a tiny amount, and it's designed to be a real shock to your system.
Phase 1 is called induction, and it's a 2-week shock phase. By dropping your carbs down to just those 20 grams, you're forcing that engine swap we talked about earlier. Your plate is going to be filled with protein, healthy fats, and lots of leafy greens. The goal? To turn your body into what the diet calls a fat-burning incinerator. So after you've jump-started that weight loss, you move into phase 2, balancing. And this is where things get a little more forgiving. You start to slowly, and I mean slowly, bring back some nutrient-rich carbs, adding just 5 more grams each week. This is where you can start having things like nuts, some berries, and full-fat yogurt again. You're basically testing the waters to see what your body can handle while you're still losing weight.
Okay, from there we move on to phase 3, pre-maintenance. This is such a critical step. It's the bridge between actively trying to lose weight and learning how to eat for the long haul. You usually jump into this phase when you're about 4 or 5 kilograms, so around 10 pounds, away from your goal weight. You keep adding more healthy carbs little by little, really fine-tuning your daily intake to find that perfect sweet spot. That spot is your personal carb tolerance, and finding it lets you reach your goal without stalling out. You're essentially training your body for life after the diet.
And that brings us to the final stop, phase 4. This is where the diet really ends and your new lifestyle begins. It's not a finish line you cross. Think of it more like hitting the open road.
Really, the whole point of this final phase is about empowerment.
After going through the first 3 phases, you're not just blindly following a set of rules anymore. You've basically become an expert on your own body, your own metabolism. You figured out your personal carb limit, that magic number that lets you enjoy a whole bunch of different foods without ever gaining that weight back.
And that idea of becoming your own body's expert perfectly sums up the ultimate goal of the Atkins program. It was never meant to be a quick, temporary fix. It's meant to be a complete education in how your metabolism works.
So when you really strip it all away, you start to see that Atkins isn't just another diet.
It's a factory reset for your body. It's a system designed to completely change how you use energy, to re-educate you about food, and ultimately to give you the tools you need to manage your own health for good.
Which really leaves us with just one last question. This idea of switching your body's engine from a carb burner to a fat burner is a pretty powerful one. So the question is, are you ready to change your fuel?